morning, everyone. This is Ashna Jha, event marketer at AirMeet. Thank you so much for joining us for this session by Tanja Simon, which is called as Be the Drive in Data Driven and How We Use Google Platform. So Tanja, as she describes herself, is a data enthusiast, and currently she is a tech lead for digital analytics and a main visionary for expansion and generation of the added value for the REWE International AG digital data treasury. She is skilled in technologies like Google Platform, Google Cloud Platform, Python, SQL, Oracle, etc. And from here, I'll let Tanja take on. Tanja, the stage is all yours. I'll see you guys later in the session.
Thank you, Ashana. So a warm welcome also from my side. And thank you for joining the talk about how we at REWE International AG use the Google Cloud Platform to enable data-driven decision-making. Before I start, let me give you a short wrap-up about the topics that I will cover today. So first of all, I will tell you a little bit more who we are, what we exactly do. Then we will switch the focus directly to the IT and to the analytics part, what we as the Digital Analytics Group at REWE International AG are currently doing, what are our challenges, how we identify business-ready data. And then I will give you a short sneak peek about how have we built up the analytics platform in the cloud. Feel free to use the reactions to give me some feedback on if you agree with some of the comments with us or not. Okay, then let's start into it. So who is the REWE Group at all? The major area of the REWE Group is the retail and the tourism sector, and it acts across 22 countries. In 2017, we have calculated around 345,000 employees and 50,300 markets. And part of the REWE Group is also the REWE International AG. And to give you a short overview about what is now the REWE International AG, we have here a short slide about that, where you can see that the REWE International AG is part of the REWE Group, like all of the other domains, and we are currently responsible for Austria, CE, and Italy. And our headquarters are in Wiener Neudorf. And you also see here some of our famous trading companies that you might know if you are from Austria or if you're living in Austria. All right, let's keep the introduction short and let's go directly into the focus of the IT, because this here is a tech talk, so no marketing presentation. Of course, you're interested in how big is the IT now at REWE International AG. As you might assume, we have a lot of different countries, we have a lot of different trading companies, and therefore we need a strong IT to support the business. And currently we have over 300 employees in the IT sector, and we are responsible for around 11 countries, like I mentioned, Austria, CE, and Italy. And within the IT, there are different topics that we are responsible for example, the technical and the application design, web app solution design. We also have topics in network and operations and so on. And to just give you a better feeling about what does it mean, if we talk about IT and the REWE International AG, I have also provided some small figures for you. So, for example, we have around 100,000 mails sent per day. Our total database size is around 120 terabytes. When it comes to the network cabling, we have around 220,000 kilometers of network cabling laid in Wiener Neudorf. And when it comes to the database accesses, we have around 30,000 database accesses per second. And as the 30 minutes will not be sufficient in order to give you a really good overview about the different topics or the different departments that we have within the IT, we have summarized it here in the small slide where you can see the different topics that we currently have within the IT. And you see here a broad range from logistic systems to IT warehouse, but we are also tackling topics for data warehouse. We're building point of sale applications, and we are also building up our own products. And of course, we are responsible for infrastructure, system technologies, and all of this stuff. And as the IT also faces certain challenges, we have set ourselves the goal to question current dependencies that we have. So apart from the system technologies that are already present, we're still trying to modernize our current infrastructure. And for that, we have identified a lot of dependencies to the existing tech stack that we have, and have identified certain topic areas where we also want to grow, where we would like to have some improvements. And just to give you some hints about what do we mean with that, I have brought up 4 examples here for you. For example, the first one is the integration part. So if someone builds something, how can we integrate it into the existing enterprise architecture? Or how do we integrate the different components that are developed by the different teams? And how can we build a sustainable future architecture? And especially for this integration strategy that we are currently working on, we have identified Kafka, especially as well for the asynchronous communication here as well. The second part, or the second topic that we have identified, is the application sector, like how do we build up our individual applications inside? Just to mention one of the technologies where we are currently experiencing some interesting interesting improvements are, for example, with the Spring framework in this case. The third one that we have seen is the development part. Here we are currently trying to figure out how we would like to design the development platform of the future. And of course, a developer in the end would like to know where are the applications based on. And here we have identified the Google Cloud Platform as one of our basic platforms to go on with. And this platform should also provide services like monitoring and logging in the future. But as we have a cloud-first strategy in the future, we do not forget about all of the on-premise sources that we currently have. So we also think about the operations aspect in the end, like how can we use the on-premise sources together with the cloud sources. And here we are making the first steps with Kubernetes. Okay, apart from all of the stores that REWE Group has, we also have a digital business. We have established the REWE Digital at REWE International AG, where we have the focus on all of the digital touch points that the REWE Group has with the end customers. Currently, we are supporting around 100 digital platforms like websites, apps, back-office applications that we have. We are also responsible for the service of around 10 countries, again, Austria, CE, and Italy. When it comes to the traffic in the digital sector, we have around 3 terabytes traffic a day. And we have around 5 million users per month and 30 million visits per month. The interesting part is that although the headquarters are within Wiener Neudorf, the digital unit and part of the IT departments are placed in Vienna, in the Europlaza in the 12th district. And of course, we are also interested in if you have known that, for example, the REWE headquarters have also offices in Vienna. So please provide us our feedback in the post that we have issued. And while you're giving us the feedback, let me also give you a project from the digital unit where we have established together with Supreme last year and with BILLA Digital in cooperation a so-called Scan and Go app. With this app, you can go into a store, you can scan the products, and you can purchase them, for example, via credit card purchase, and then you can leave the store without the need of a shopping cart or without the need to go to the cashier. All right, then let's jump into the analytics context and what this talk is about. As I mentioned before, within the REWE International AG, we have identified that there is a huge data treasury and we must make use of the data. And therefore, we have established a separate group where the focus is on getting the value out of the data. And currently, we have 3 major topics that are provisioned by this group. The first one is web and app analytics, where the major focus is on customer journey analytics. as well as the performance analytics of the websites. If our product teams build, for example, their web and app shop solutions, to see how does the end customer in the end like our features that we have published. The second one is the data science engineering part, where we work together with the business data scientists to bring the business value, to get a deep dive into the data, to get the value out of the data, and to see, for example, how is the data distributed. If you're interested in the tech stack that we use, you can also have a look into the right section where you see the different technologies, the tools that we are currently using. And in this data science engineering field, we are also working with, for example, dynamic yield in order to publish product recommendations for our online webshop solutions. The third part is the data engineering part, because in the end, it is important that the data is processed for the business needs. And therefore, this team is currently building up the so-called analytics platform, which is simply spoken a cloud data warehouse with the underlying business layer and the data pipelines that are associated with this. And of course, this team is also interested in calculating key metrics, connecting to various amounts of data sources so that we have one centralized data source of truth in the end. Of course, the analytics field has also evolved over time. This is also something that we as a team have observed. For example, in the past, it was only necessary to analyze historical data, or at least to get real-time information about the current processes, about how the supply chain is currently working. And we have seen also in the last years a shift from only analyzing historical information to also think ahead, like if I publish a certain marketing campaign, how will it affect our revenue in the end? And then in the end, we do not only want to provide the algorithms or the models behind of that, but we would also like to have this optimization point, like that not a human must make the decision in the end, but that also the system recommends the correct action in the end. And we have seen that with our current infrastructure that we have, it was not possible to go into this future perspective. And therefore, we have decided for ourselves that there must be a platform that can not only support the historical use cases that we had, but also to support the future use cases that we will have. Apart from that, we came then up with our first vision that we had for the analytics platform. As we are in the digital sector and our major vision is to provide the best shopping experience for our end customers, we've identified that we start with two major data sources for ourselves. So the first one is the digital customer. So to not only connect to internal databases, but also to third-party tools to grab all of the information from the different tools and to see how can we join the information so that in the end we have one digital customer with all of the attributes that we need in order to provide better services for the end customer. And the second point that we have identified is that we have to make improvements in the e-commerce sector. And of course, here we also have different data sources where we can collect the information to see why did the user abandon a cart before he made the successful purchase. And all of these data sources should be combined in one analytics platform so that we have one unique data collection where then the business, and now we come to the right side of it, can do their decision making and all of their use cases. So we have identified for ourselves 4 use cases that where we see should be the priority for the analytics platform. The first one is real-time analytics. So it should be possible that we have an operational dashboard. So not only the historical analysis, but also to see in real time how many orders should be fulfilled, for example. The second one that we have seen is the business analytics part, where we would like to provide data-driven decision-making. So you must imagine, if you work for a lot of different countries, there are different data structures, different marketing campaigns. So the structure of the data always looks different, so that we also provide this unique business layer that we have one standard across all of the countries. The third one is we would like to get the data back to the business. The Rewe International IT is so big that it's sometimes difficult to get the data out of the silos and to provide it back to the business so that they can work with it. So for us, it was really important as well that we have a platform that is open so that everyone can access it and can handle it without a lot of difficulties. And the last one is, as we would like to have a future-proof platform, there should also be a playground for machine learning and AI that is possible. And based on the brainstormings that we had, we also thought of how do we get now to this business-ready data, and what is important for us if we provide the data back to the business. And for us, we have identified 6 major points. The first one is the time to value. It is not acceptable, either from the business or from the IT side, to wait 2 years until we make a data source available for analysis. So we must establish some fast time to value processes. The second one is the optimization, where we identified that we must be more professional in this way. Like, there must be standards, there must be some frameworks that can be used so that we can publish even faster. The third one is the trust. If you have different data sources from different trading companies, it's something really difficult to identify what column means exactly what, so that we also provide the data that is really needed in the format and with a description that the business can work with that, so that they feel comfortable in working with the data without the need of the IT. The fourth one is governance, access management. Some frameworks must be established. Standardization is another important point for us, so that we have as well an analytics data model in place so that we can scale even faster existing projects. And the last one is the methodology. So in the end, we do not want to end up with a data swamp where all of the data is dumped to, but in the end, we would also like to gain the value out of the data. All right, and we have also provided another poll for you, because of everything that you've heard so far. Would you now think, in your opinion, is the Google Cloud platform suitable for something that you have heard now? So I'm curious about your feedback on that as well. Okay, and as promised, I will also jump into the architecture to tell you a little bit more about how we have set it up now in the Google Cloud platform. From our point of view, we had 3 first POCs where we identified that this makes the most sense, especially at the beginning when you start with the Google Cloud. And we have identified that we would like to connect to an API to process the data and to make it available to the business. The second use case was there are a lot of files lying around, and there are a lot of manual processes currently where one business manager tries to configure a CSV file and then manually uploads it into the database. So we established that the second point, to automate existing processes, is an important one. And the third one is how to connect our on-premise or Oracle databases to the Google Cloud. And for our use cases, we have tried out different data processing tools, and we come to the conclusion that Apache Nifi, especially for the upload into the cloud, was the best tool of our choice. It's a modular system. It's a software that is easy to use. You must not know a specific programming language. And it's like, if you know Lego, it's like building up blocks in order to make a data pipeline work. For the storage, we have established Google Storage and Google BigQuery. I think I must not go into detail for these 2 tools. Maybe just a small remark. With Google Storage, it is also possible to put some files in there where, for example, you can also access with data visualization tools directly to CSV files. We had some use cases, especially in CE, where they felt more comfortable in connecting to files than in connecting to a database. With BigQuery, it was rather easy. So Apache Nifi comes with out-of-the-box connectors to store and to transfer the data to BigQuery to save them there in the correct format. As our major orchestration engine, we have identified Cloud Composer as the best tool of choice. We used their Python code in order to orchestrate the different data pipelines that we have established. For example, if you have some dependencies, that if one workload is dependent on another workload, so for example, workload A must be finished before workload B, it is really easy to enable it with Cloud Composer, because you have also a visual graph to see the dependencies of all of the tools. For the analysis, we have also BigQuery here in place because it's easy to write in SQL there and to make some fast queries based on the data that is provided. And what else was important for us is that we can connect any visualization tool. Within Rewe International, there are some preferences from some groups to use our enterprise. For example, especially data scientists use our enterprise in order to collect information, to make some forecasting algorithms, and to show it in, for example, Shiny dashboards. We have other units that prefer Data Studio because it's very easy to use and you can start analyzing the data really fast without a lot of introduction beforehand. We have also Business Objects in place, which is currently the company reporting tool of choice, where you can also model universes based on objects. And so for every unit and for every use case, it was really a good choice to use BigQuery in this case because we have established all of the connectors and we can make use like from one data source. There is no need to duplicate the data to various data sources, and we have one centralized place where you can save the data. And of course, the Google Cloud comes also with a lot of supporting services that we also use. In the past, we had to make use, for example, of Prometheus or of InfluxDB in order to monitor the current running systems and to visualize them with Grafana. The advantage from the Google Cloud is that it comes with their own monitoring and logging dashboards, so you can see the resources that were used per user, per project. So it's also easy to identify how much resources were allocated to what project. We have also used the access, so the IAM, so the access and the authentication system from the Google Cloud to give a fast access to the trading companies. And another point that was really important for us is that the data is described where the data is. And this is one of the advantages from our point of view from Google Data Catalog. It is a system where you can easily describe the data. You can also add business information in there. You can add data lineage information in there. And so that if the user needs an introduction what a certain data set or a certain column means, it's directly connected to Data Catalog. There are also search functions to quickly search through BigQuery to find the correct source or column that they are currently searching for. So far to our current architecture, and what we are currently building and what we are currently researching is the machine learning feature from the Google Cloud. There are various ways. There are certain tools that you can also use in order for machine learning or AI experiences. For example, we take a look into how can we use cloud storage for the training data to store it there. It's also possible to use cloud functions in combination with the machine learning engine, so that you write the functions that call the machine learning engine, and then you get the results back as well. And the machine learning engine from the Google Cloud you can also use for model training and model scoring. And then via cloud functions or maybe via data flow, you can also put the data back into BigQuery for further analysis. All right, then that's it. So we have 4 minutes left, Ashana.
So thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I hope the audiences got to learn a lot about how to use Google Cloud Platform. And we do have some questions from the audiences that I would like to present them to you for you to answer. So this one is from Julia, who's a digital marketing supervisor. Her question is, what are some popular tools, software, programming languages in Austria one should learn to work in data analytics?
Very interesting question. I think it's difficult to give here a broad answer about that. It's as I am currently only from the digital analytics perspective and not so much from the data science perspective, I would be happy maybe to go into a one-on-one talk, maybe in the booth later on, Julia, if you're ready for that. And then we can make a deep dive into your question. to see what exactly you would like to know from us.
Okay, we have another question from Rita. Rita, would you like to ask this question directly to Tanja on stage? You can just raise your hand and we can call you on stage by using this button on your screen. Okay, so I'll just pick this question up now. Has REWE seen a peak in online purchases during the pandemic, and how do you see the impact of the pandemic in the future of the online versus traditional physical shop sales?
Yes, we have seen an increase, especially when the crisis started, because a lot of people were too afraid in order to go to the store to make the purchases, and therefore a lot of people have switched to the e-commerce, so like to the online shops that we currently provide. I think that it helped in order to get this digital transformation in Austria to roll on and to get more insights into it. And a lot of people have lost the fear of using online shops, especially older people.
All right. Do we have any other questions for Tanja? Or we will be closing in next 2 minutes. So if anyone wants to interact with Tanja on stage, they can just raise their hand by clicking on this on the screen. So we have one from Saurabh Mitra, who is the AVP of Digital Marketing at Ziploan.com. He asks, how is the new cookie policy is going to affect the data captured during performance marketing and hence the analysis, especially in Austria and Europe?
Good point. We are currently implementing the consent management portals in order to collect the consent from the users. It really depends on the national law per country about how it affected our marketing measures. Of course, we have seen a drop, especially for the marketing measures, because we have a very strict precondition at the Rewe International AG, so the customer comes first. Therefore, a lot of restrictions that we have enabled and incorporated led to a loss of data in this case. So the performance was decreasing.
All right. Thank you so much for answering that, Tanja. I think we are good to go. And thank you so much for that wonderful session. We really loved you having here.
Thank you, Ashana. And thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, everyone. And if you want to interact with the team and with other speakers, you can go to the virtual lounge and interact with them. We have a interesting session coming up right next. So please hold on. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.